She said, "I just asked him to zip my dress. If you're jealous, just shut up and go home." Then she turned around, let him do it, and laughed with him like I was invisible. I stayed quiet, booked a flight home that night and left without a word. The next morning, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. "I just asked him to zip my dress. If you're jealous, just shut up and go home." Her voice cut through the music like a blade, clear, confident, cruel. The laughter around us stopped. She turned her back to me, letting him pull the zipper up slowly, smiling like I wasn't even standing there. No yelling. No scene. No begging her to stop embarrassing me. I just nodded, finished my drink, and walked out, like a man leaving his own funeral. Because that's what it was. She thought I'd sulk, maybe text her later, maybe fight for her one more time. But I didn't. I went home, opened my laptop, and pulled up a folder I'd been avoiding for days. Screenshots, messages, receipts. Proof she thought I'd never see. By the time she realized what I'd done, it was too late. And the next morning, my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Mira was fire-wrapped in silk, confident, magnetic, the kind of woman who could walk into a room and make everyone forget why they were there. We met 2 years ago at a PR launch. She ran the event. I handled the digital coverage. Somehow we ended up talking long after everyone left, about movies, travel, how fake people could be in our industries. That night she stole my fries, laughed until she cried and said, "You make me feel like the world isn't fake for a minute." That line stuck with me, because Mira lived in a world built on image, flawless smiles, filtered photos, and people who only clapped when the cameras were on. I thought I could be her calm, the one place she didn't have to perform, and for a while I was. She'd text me mid-meeting just to say she missed me, show up with coffee, call me her lucky charm, fall asleep on my chest whispering, "You're my peace." But peace doesn't last long with people who feed on attention, little by little. She changed. Late nights, locked screens, endless client calls. If I asked, she'd sigh, "Babe, I work in PR. People need me." Clients don't wait. Her wardrobe changed too, flashier, bolder, like she was dressing for someone else's eyes. And maybe she was. Still, I didn't want to believe it. Until that Friday. She had an event dinner, said she might be late. Just the team. I was on the couch finishing work when her phone buzzed on the counter. Just one message. Ethan. The co-worker she'd introduced as just a close friend. The text said, "Lobby in 10, same dress as last time." My stomach dropped. Before I could even process it, the bathroom door opened. She stepped out, hair damp, perfume strong, wearing that red dress I'd bought her for our anniversary. She glanced at her reflection, smiled to herself, then noticed the phone in my hand. For half a second her face froze, then she slid effortlessly into character. "Oh, I must have left that there," she said, snatching it up. "Don't wait up, okay? This one might run late." She kissed me on the cheek and left. Something in me said follow her. Not out of jealousy, out of instinct, so I did. She took a rideshare instead of her car. I stayed a few cars behind, headlights off, following her downtown. 10 minutes later, she walked into the Skyline Hotel, a place I knew her company used for client meetings. I parked nearby and waited. 5 minutes passed. Then I went in. I walked inside. Through the glass wall of the mezzanine lounge, I saw her, Mira, sitting with Ethan, his jacket off, his hand on her knee. She laughed. The same laugh that once made me feel like the luckiest man alive. Now it sounded rehearsed. He leaned closer. She didn't move away. Then she kissed him. It wasn't a mistake. It was familiarity. I didn't confront them. Didn't shout. Didn't even breathe too loud. I just watched for a few seconds, enough to know. Then I left. The city lights blurred as I drove home, steady hands, quiet rage. That night I started saving proof. Not for revenge, just for reality. Because when people like Mira get caught, they don't confess. They perform. 3 days passed. She acted like nothing had happened. Came home humming, dropped her bag on the counter, kissed my cheek, asked about my day. Her performance was flawless, as if our life was a stage she refused to leave. I played along because I needed to see where the act would end, and it ended that Saturday night. The party was at one of our mutual friends' houses, a mix of her PR colleagues and my old college friends. Neutral ground, or at least that's what it looked like. When we arrived, Mira was radiant. Silver dress, hair curled perfectly, a confidence that could fool anyone. You'd never guess that just days before, She'd been in a hotel room with another man. She slipped her hand into mine for the cameras, whispered, "Let's try to have fun tonight, okay?" Like nothing between us had cracked, I smiled back. Because that's what she wanted. The illusion of normal. The music was loud, laughter louder. Everyone drinking, chatting, catching up. And for a while I almost convinced myself I could get through the night without breaking. Then I saw him, Ethan, at the bar, laughing with a group of her co-workers. The same hand that had touched her knee now holding a drink, acting like nothing had happened. When Mira noticed him, something in her shifted, just slightly. Her voice got lighter. Her posture changed. That sparkle in her eye wasn't joy. It was control. She was performing again. Not for him. For me. An hour passed. She laughed a little too loud at his jokes. Made sure I was watching when she leaned in to whisper something. Every touch, every glance, calculated. And then halfway through the night she leaned close to me and said, "I'm just going to fix my dress real quick." I nodded. Watched her disappear down the hallway toward the guest rooms. 2 minutes later, Ethan excused himself and followed. Nobody noticed. Nobody ever does. I waited another minute before setting my glass down and walking after them. The hallway was dim, only one door slightly open, light spilling through. Laughter came from inside, hers. I pushed the door open. Mira stood in front of the mirror, her back turned. Ethan was behind her, hands halfway up the zipper of her dress. They froze. For a second, nobody moved. Even the music from the living room seemed to fade. "What the hell is this?" I asked quietly. Mira blinked once, then smirked. Not nervous, not scared, just amused. "Relax," she said. It stuck. "I just asked him to zip my dress." Her tone wasn't defensive. It was mocking, sharp enough to draw blood. Ethan stepped back, stammering, "Man, it's nothing." But she cut him off with a look. She turned fully toward me, eyes glittering under the light. "You really came in here for that?" She scoffed. "God, you're embarrassing." My jaw tightened. "You're seriously doing this? After everything?" Her expression flickered for half a heartbeat. Guilt? Further? Then she laughed. "Doing what? Asking for help? Jesus, you're jealous of everyone. Maybe that's why you're so miserable." It wasn't the words that hurt. It was the calm behind them. The way she twisted the knife without raising her voice. She wanted to win. She wanted control. And humiliating me in front of others was her final move. I heard muffled voices outside, people near the door, maybe hearing us. And then she said it, loud enough for them to catch every word. "I just asked him to zip my dress. If you're jealous, just shut up and go home." The hallway went still. Someone outside chuckled awkwardly. A few others pretended not to notice. Inside, I just stared at her. She'd turned the whole thing into a performance, turned me into the fool in her little show. For a second, I almost spoke. Then I realized that's exactly what she wanted. She wanted a reaction, a scene, a story where she could be the victim and I'd be the angry boyfriend. So I gave her nothing. I took a slow breath and said quietly, "Okay." Her eyes narrowed. "Okay, what?" "Okay, I'll go home." She rolled her eyes, muttering, "Finally." I stepped aside, opened the door wider. Ethan slipped out first, pretending to check his phone. Mira brushed past me, whispering, "Grow up, will you?" Then she walked back into the crowd, her laughter floating behind her like perfume. I stood there for a moment, not angry, not broken, just done, because in that moment I realized something simple. You don't fight people who crave chaos. You leave them to it. So I walked out of that party without another word. No one stopped me. They probably thought I was sulking, the jealous boyfriend she'd put in his place. If only they knew, because by the time she poured herself another drink and started laughing again, I was already driving home. I drove home in silence, no music, no thoughts. Just her words replaying in my head. "If you're jealous, just shut up and go home." She said it with that smug half-smile, like she'd won, like she'd turned me into the fool of her story. And maybe she thought she had. But the truth was, I'd already stopped playing her game a long time ago. When I got home, the apartment felt heavier than usual. Everything about the place reminded me of her. The wine glasses she insisted on buying, the throw blanket she never used, the half-empty perfume bottle on the dresser. I sat down at my desk, opened my laptop, and stared at the screen for a long time. Then I clicked on a folder named Work. Inside it was another folder I'd renamed a few days ago, Mira. Inside were the things I hadn't wanted to look at again. Screenshots, message threads, Uber receipts, hotel invoices, proof of every late-night client meeting and team event that wasn't. Each one proved how badly she'd underestimated me. I didn't want revenge when I saved them. Back then, I just needed something solid. A way to stop feeling like I was going insane. But after that party, after the way she looked me in the eye and humiliated me, proof wasn't enough anymore. There had to be accountability. So I started compiling every screenshot, every timestamp, every receipt that contradicted her alibi. I arranged them chronologically, clean, organized, impossible to deny. No captions, no notes, no emotional paragraphs. Just her own words and the facts that buried them. I named the file Mira Personal. Then I opened a blank email. To hrhercompany.com, cc herbossatcompany.com. Subject line, for internal review, misuse of company time and resources. The body was simple. For your awareness, this file contains evidence of one of your representatives using company accounts and events for personal activities. Please review privately. Before hitting send, I paused, not out of guilt, but out of habit. 2 years of protecting her reputation had trained me to hesitate. Even now, part of me wanted to delete it, pretend I didn't know what she really was. Then I remembered that smirk at the party. The laughter. The words, if you're jealous, just shut up and go home. So I hit send. One click. That was all it took to shatter the mask she'd built so perfectly. At 7:46 a.m., my phone started buzzing. One call, then another, then 12. All from her. I ignored the first few. Then the texts came in waves. What did you do? They suspended me. You're ruining my career. You have no idea what this will do to me. I didn't reply. Because the truth was, I hadn't ruined anything. She had by noon, her social media was gone. By evening, mutual friends were whispering. And by the next morning, her company released a statement about addressing internal professionalism concerns. The empire she built on charm collapsed in 24 hours. And all I had to do was tell the truth. The next evening, she showed up at my door, eyes swollen, hair a mess, clutching her phone like it could save her. When I opened the door, she didn't even try to smile. You think this makes you the good guy? She said, voice shaking. You destroyed me. I looked at her, calm, detached. No, I said. You destroyed yourself. I just stopped covering for you. She blinked, stunned. Then her expression cracked, panic turning into fury. I made one mistake. I tilted my head. No, you made a choice. Over and over, she tried again, quieter this time. Was it worth it? I thought for a second. It wasn't about revenge, I said. It was about balance. For a moment, she looked like she might cry, and maybe that would have worked before. But not anymore. All I saw now was the liar who told me to shut up and go home. She looked around the apartment one last time. The pictures were gone. The drawers empty. There was nothing left of her here. Finally, she whispered, I hope you're happy. I almost smiled. No, I said softly. Just free. Then she turned and left. It felt different this time, not heavy, just clean, because sometimes justice doesn't roar. It doesn't need fireworks or applause. Sometimes it just whispers, you can go now. For days the silence felt strange, like waiting for a ghost that never came. Messages from people pretending to care buzzed non-stop. I didn't answer. I didn't owe anyone a story. The truth was simple. Mira had spent 2 years building an image, and I'd spent 2 years protecting it. Now both were gone. I didn't hate her. Not anymore. Hate means you still care, and I was done caring. What I felt was distance. Like she belonged to a life I'd already outgrown. I kept the apartment. Threw away the little things, the perfume bottles, the coffee mugs she never washed, the photos that looked happy only because we were trying too hard. Not out of anger, just cleansing. Watching her career crumble didn't feel good, just inevitable. The world moved on quickly. Her company replaced her within a week. Ethan transferred to another branch, mutual friends, stopped mentioning her name when they realized I didn't flinch anymore. And me, I started sleeping again. Eating properly. Existing without walking on eggshells around. Someone who mistook cruelty for honesty. I didn't realize how draining it was to love someone who only loved attention until the quiet finally felt peaceful. A few weeks later, a text came in from an unknown number. It was short. I'm sorry. I really am, no name. But I didn't need one. I stared at it for a minute, then deleted it without replying. Some apologies aren't meant for forgiveness. They're just people trying to ease their own guilt. Peace comes when you stop needing their apology. Sometimes I think back to that night. The party. The laughter. The moment she said it loud enough for everyone to hear. If you're jealous, just shut up and go home. Back then it felt like humiliation. Now it feels like closure. Because that sentence ended everything I didn't have the courage to. I really did go home. And once I did, I never looked back. People say closure comes from forgiveness. I don't think that's true. For me, closure came from honesty. Finally seeing her for who she was and admitting who I became while trying to keep her. Love isn't supposed to make you small. It's not supposed to humiliate you in public and then demand loyalty in private. And when it does, walking away isn't weakness. It's self-respect. If you've ever been in that place and loving someone who turns your trust into entertainment, you know what it feels like to lose twice. Once when they betray you, and again when you realize you ignored every red flag. But there's freedom in losing what was never real, because once you stop begging to be chosen by the wrong person, peace follows.